Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today you're getting our final review of Hexed by Children of Bodom. Alright, TV Fish and I just spent the entire week listening to this album as much as possible to develop our opinions, and I've got to say, as a longtime Bodom fan, I am neither disappointed or impressed by this album. This album for me was very middle of the road. I didn't get bored of it, but I was never really hyped for it. There's a few high points for me. I guess I'll talk about those. There wasn't really many low points, so I'll put that out right now. There wasn't anything I really didn't like. Soon Departed, which is the last real official song on the album, is probably my lowest point on the album. It's a little bit slower tempoed, a little bit softer, but it's got some good soloing in it. Not bad, but weak for me.
It makes sense though for it being the last actual track.
It's alright. I typically like the slow songs on an album to be in the middle. I like to finish with a bang. This doesn't really finish with a bang to me, but it's not bad. It's not horrible. I'm not saying it's bad in any way. Just for me, it was my least favorite. The title track really grew on me. The title track grew on me a lot for many reasons. The riffs, the soloing. I'm probably gonna use those words a lot in this review because those are the highlights of many songs. But I was gravitating towards that. I remember in the first impressions I said Glass Houses was probably gonna be my favorite song throughout the week. Still really like that song, but Under Grass and Clover became my favorite song. Now, that was the first single they released. I think this song's got the catchiest riffs. I love the riffs of this song. They're so inviting to my ears. I gravitate towards it and I just start grooving to it really easily. Every other song though kind of gave me the same feeling. It was just another Bodom song, right? Which is not a bad thing because they make great music and these guys are talented musicians, and you know, I like the sound that Bodom brings, but I always just struggle for that extra little element that makes me appreciate the song a little more, makes me want to listen to it more, add it to my playlist or something like that. But I wasn't getting that for most of the songs, which is why this album kind of fell in a little bit of the medium gray area for me this week.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this album was such a weird one to listen to just because I felt like I was enjoying it, but it wasn't really blowing my mind. Like, I was listening to this thing, yeah, this is really good. Like, I'm really enjoying this, but for some reason it wasn't, you know, really punching through. That being said, last week, I think we both talked about how much we liked Kickin' a Spleen, which, it's really good, but I felt like it was slipping a little bit for me just because I kind of got a little tired of it, especially compared to other songs that did grow on me, which I'll get to in a second. One thing that kind of turned me a little bit off from Kickin' a Spleen though is just the lyrics. Yeah. Every time I hear him say Kickin' the Spleen, it just sounded really dorky to me. That's just me, just how it sounds.
In all fairness, you got to expect, Bodom's not really known for super in-depth.
Yeah,
lyrics.
You know, it's this
they're kind of dorky. They're kind of almost high school, drunken game. I don't know, just really immature kind of stuff. Sometimes they got some deep stuff.
Yeah,
it's few and far between. Most of it's pretty amateur sounding. I
can't really knock it that hard for the way it sounds. It's just that just started to kind of annoy me a little bit, but the song is still good. That being said, similar to you, Hexed, I think I'm not sure if I commented on this song last week, but I enjoyed it last week and it grew to be my favorite song on this album. Like you said, the riffs are fantastic. I love the use of the harpsichord sound on there as well. Yep. That's so cool sounding, not on any other song in this album.
The outro is really cool too.
That's also amazing. I know we commented on that last week saying, what's this fade out, blah, 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 but just the way it goes into just this guitar line with the bass behind it is so nice. There's a weird effect on it and just, it's really cool. Awesome, awesome song. A song that grew on me, I guess for you, was also Under Grass and Clover. When we first reacted to this song, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Didn't blow my mind. When we listened to it on the album, it was throwing me off. I kept hearing all the major stuff, the major sounding stuff they were doing, and it just sat really weird with me last week. Just based on the first impression of the album.
I liked it.
But after listening to it throughout the week, I started to get a lot more used to it, so I was able to appreciate it a lot more. It doesn't, when this album comes on, or when this song comes on from the album, on shuffle, it doesn't quote unquote bother my ears as much as it did earlier on.
In a way, it kind of sounds like a major melody on top of a minor rhythm.
Yeah, it's really,
it's got an awkward sound, but it's very interesting, yeah.
So it's something different that way. That being said, this album has a really good consistency to it, I find.
Yeah.
All the songs, they are enjoyable, like to some certain extent. Some a little bit more than others, but there's no real terrible song in this album. I wouldn't say there's anything on this album that really drags it down.
No.
There's just nothing that really like kicks it out to the stars, you know?
Right. One thing I'll mention, you talked about lyrics a second ago. In Say Never Look Back, the 9th track, I don't know all the words, so I'm not even gonna try to recite them, but he says, 1, 2, 3, da 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 da, and he like does a count all the way up to 10, but for some reason he doesn't say 4. Like they skip 4 on every chorus, and I don't know if Alexi just can't count or if there's a secret meaning behind it. Maybe you guys know, and you can let us know in the comments below why they don't mention the number 4 in that song, but they do 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and yeah, I don't know why. But I kept hearing it going, are they mentioning 4 at all? Are they mentioning 4 at all? I looked up the lyrics thinking there might be some hidden message or maybe it's squeezed in there some clever way, but I couldn't see anything.
You know, it's funny, I actually never noticed that. And I mentioned last week when we did our first impressions before we started recording, I mentioned to you like, oh, 1, 2, 3, you're running out of time or something, like how I thought it was goofy.
Cheesy, yeah.
But I never even figured that he just skipped over the number 4.
Skips it.
Yeah, that's really silly. But this album, I feel that the vocals, they sometimes kind of bug me, but they sometimes didn't. It's kind of weird, because his growl is sick. I love how his growl sounds, but sometimes he does this kind of, I don't want to say nasally, but this other voice in it. I want to say in, I think Platitudes and Barren Words maybe, during the pre-chorus is a good example, if I'm recalling correctly.
I think I know the voice you're talking about. It's Alexi's voice, like it's something he does all the time, but there was a certain point in Bodom's discography where he kind of started doing that, and it might be around like Are You Dead Yet? That kind of era and on, where it started kind of doing like, almost like, yeah, it's like a whiny teenager or something.
Honestly,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. But, I mean, it's part of their sound now. Like, it's not always like, Hate Crew Death Roll and before was all like the growl and the screams, right? After that, it got a little more about drunk party times and just fighting and just crazy boyish behavior kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that voice kind of bugged me when I was listening to it, but then when you do all the screams and stuff, I'd be like, fuck, this guy's voice is awesome now. Yeah. Just go back and forth between that for some of the songs.
At least there's a range, right? At least there's some dynamics to it where it's not just a one-trick pony. He's actually doing different things and adding some flavor to the songs in different ways.
Yeah, that's a good.
So that's a good bonus for that. So I don't know. I think we should probably just get to ratings now. Like I really don't have much else to say about it, really.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start. As far as ratings go, really, as far as this album goes in total and their discography, I'd put this in line with like Blood Drunk, Halo of Blood, Relentless, Reckless, Forever, whatever that one was called. It kind of fits in with those for me. Everything previous to that I really liked, and I really liked I Worship Chaos. This just doesn't have that spark. It's very middle of the pack. I don't really have much bad to say about it. So I'm giving it a 6.5.
All right.
6.5.
Respectable score. I'm kind of in a similar spot to you when it comes to rating this album. That being said, I don't have as much background on this band as you do. So I can't say, oh, how it compares to these, how it compares to that. But overall, this is nowhere near a bad album. I can't say much bad about it, but it does lack that spark. But it's still definitely solid. Honestly, if I put this album on months from now, I'll probably think like, wow, this is solid, like totally solid. So for me, it gets a 7, because it is definitely a solid album. Like, it's worth checking out. It's just not really mind-blowing, I found, throughout the week.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend this album to a new potential fan though. There's other albums I'd definitely choose over this one. But I think it falls in line good with the rest of their stuff. I mean, if you're a fan of the band and you like their music and how they sound, you're gonna get more of that with this. It's definitely nothing new or crazy. So they stick with their formula and they do it well.
Yeah, anyway, that's all we got for you guys today. A 7 for me, 6.5 from Vile Self. Remember to like the video if you guys liked it. Comment, tell us what you thought of the album. What do you think it ranks up based on the other Children of Bodom albums? We'd love to hear what you guys are saying. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later. Keep the horns way up.